What is up, everyone? Welcome back to our Middle East Dual Empire series. This is part 4, I think you're watching. This is intended to be part 5, but a glitch happened that wouldn't let me progress. Enough it was supposed to be episode 3, so this is episode 4. So basically, we're supposed to have episode 5, but that didn't happen. Alright, the North Africans will get a small split. And this is unfortunate, but, however, the troops from the Sinai and the forces from southern Egypt, these guys, they will attempt to prevent this, and they are successful in stopping them from reaching this fort. But this entire area will rise up, forming northern Egypt. Now, the Sinai were the ones that controlled this, and these two areas are global flashpoints, like these two, because the Anatolians, basically, these guys are the Anatolians, right? So the Anatolians are basically like the Kurds of this timeline. They're constantly bullied by everyone, and everyone wants to see them obliterated. So as a result of this, the as a result of this, the Anatolians are in like war with Turkey. This is the Turkish puppet, and this is also a Turkish puppet. This is funded by the Turks. This used to be a Turkish puppet down here, but then the Cyprians, these guys, became a puppet state of the Turks um, uh, after the Great War, the Great Coalition War. They became an independent nation, and now what they're doing is these two are revolts are trying to reform the Cyprian Empire. These guys control the Cyprian historical capital. These guys control the cultural capital, and they're planning on unifying into a front to eliminate the Turks once and for all. These two have like a bitter rivalry. Same thing with the Anatolians. These three, like the Turks have bitter rivalries with both of these. And then, the main like economic alliance in this series is the Iran Six, which includes these guys, the Caucasians, the Caspians, the Kuwaitis, Central Mesopotamia, Qatar, United Eastern Arabs, and the Istanbul. They're the 6 major members who founded the joint colony of Iran. So basically, they all agree to protect this colony and to ensure that it is an economic aid. So all the countries share profits from it. And this joint venture is extremely successful. The northern Egyptian government will get close but are not able to take the fort. This is because the North Africans, who are basically just Libya at this point, have held them off. So they will not be able to take the fort. What they will do instead is they will take this area, they will then start marching down, and they will get close to this fort. These are a bunch of insurgents funded by the Egyptians and Yamanis. These guys are now in Libya. Oh yes, and this small dot is a small remnant of the Cyprian Empire. This is an incredibly small port city, and the Turks both sides forgot to take it, so they were allowed to keep it. It's their only land access, from what I can tell. So this is their incredibly small port they have. I will call this Tripoli. I don't think that's probably not where Tripoli is, but it's good enough for now. Acacia will build a castle. And the question is where. They decide to build it right here. This is a fort designed to protect them from the newly formed Cyprian Central Mesopotamia and Kuwait have nearly identical colors. Kuwait is one of the most peaceful nations on this map, because pretty much no one attacks them. These two have extremely close relations. These were like the main two to start contributing to this colony, and Caucasia and Caspia both wanted to join. Central Mesopotamia joined. Then there used to be a Northern Mesopotamian state, but they were like a buffer state. But since that they unified with the central area, South Sudanese will get a large expand, allowing them to. So Ethiopia is like a bunch of small states because they did not want the Cypriot government finding out about them. So basically, guys from Cypriotia during their like huge chaotic period, they founded Mesopotamia. So the Cypriotians paid for the founding Mesopotamia. So that's the reason why these guys were formerly so close. But after the fall of Cypriotia, now they're being more independent, if you will. And then you have these guys. The Caucasian colony was paid for by the Cypriotans, but the people who settled it were from Anatolia. So this is like the only country that follows the Anatolian language, aside from Anatolia itself. The Turks desperately want to take it out, but the Caucasians have so much like mountain, they have like insane amount of mountains covering them. They're also extremely wealthy because they're the only nation to have land on the Caspian Sea, which allows them to have really good infrastructure there. They're doing really well with water supply. They're the ones who are good at purifying the water. So a lot of countries are forced to buy water from them, like the weaker countries. Alright, Anatolia will move and they'll get small expand. They will cut off this puppet state completely. Turkish puppet state in the north gets obliterated, and they will then start moving on the Bosporus. Istanbul will then get a large expand. They will force the Anatolians back off this river, but they will not be able to move because the army is heavily prepared. So instead, Turkey decides to storm Cyprus. They will lose a ton of manpower, then take this fort and cut off this. They will then make a landing here, but the northern Cyprians, they split. However, this split is prevented, however, because the Cyprian military was prepared just in case, so they had enough troops deployed to deal with it. So this split is averted for the Cyprians. Now, Now the joint colony will adopt a religion. So the question is, which one do you adopt? So there's the two main religions in this thing are Buddhism, which is followed by the Turks. The Turks founded it. Christianity, which is at this point barely existing. Christianity was founded by the Cyprians. Then they were forced to adopt Buddhism after the treaty. Then you have Yemeni Islam, type of Islam founded by the Yemeni, who are at this point desperately trying to flee from the extremely powerful Second Yemeni army. Then you have Taoism, which was founded by the Caucasians. The Caspians follow this, they've just never directly enforced it. So, what that means, they've never officially made their own Taoist societies or anything. They haven't started their own Taoist religious law. They haven't done that yet. So they follow the religion, but they're not officially adopters of it. So the question is, which will they adopt? So the Kuwaitis don't follow Buddhism. The Qataris don't follow Buddhism. So a vote is held. So there are 3 members. 1 member follows Buddhism, and 2 do not follow any, and 2 follow Taoism. The vote is held, and what happens is, since Caspia provides since Caspia provides an insane amount of water and stuff, like the Caucasians, and since they're a really good ally to have, because they're really good at, countering Turkey. So as a result, the colony will adopt Taoism. And this move is unpopular with the Buddhists in the central Mesopotamia area, but the Kuwaitis tell them to just not care. But they have a rebellion. However, troops from the central region of Mesopotamia plus troops from Qatar UAE will help the Kuwaiti government smash it. This is because the instability in Iran 6, if that happens, the colony could collapse, and they cannot let this happen. Oh yes, and the leader is elected via a vote. They all settled on this woman to be the leader. Cassie will have a large expand. From once finally money flowing in from the Caucasians they will start going down this river. They will then have a new leader and have a union. Caspians want to unite with the Caucasian, but the Caucasians will build a castle. They will build it right here and call it Western Flank. They do not want the Turks to be able to take this area. They're just reinforcing their positions as much as they can. As you can see, they keep building castles to ensure that they are not attacked. You can't really blame them. I mean, they're a very economically viable region. They get a small split, but Caspia is actually probably the most stable nation on this entire map, because their government has not gone into a single war. Their land has not been invaded at all ever since their founding. So in exchange for more autonomy in northern Iran, like this area, they will agree to not, it's bloodlessly put down. The Eastern Iranians will get a split. However, at the end of the day, the split doesn't even matter, because this thing literally only exists because a bunch of colonists from the joint colony decided to march up here, and the troops are provided from Qatar and the Kuwaitis, so they will go in and basically tell the government there to ensure that no instability happens. So the government is able to put that down with the troops they got. The Northern Anatolians will get a medium expand, but at this point, they're so weak to the point at which you can barely even see them on the map at this point. Northern Anatolians will get a small split, and this is their fort. And what happens is, so people in the south, right? So what's happening is people in the south are way more worried about the Turkish threat, and people in the west are too, but people in the north aren't as worried. And so the southern Anatolians will break away. And these guys are going to defend this area with their lives. So their population, nearly all of it's in the military, so they are probably the most militarized nation on Earth. Okay. Red Oman will get a small split. And what happens is, troops from Qatar will go in. This will be known as Qatari occupied Oman. The Qatari government will occupy it. And this thing is supposed to be Qatar UAE, but I just refer to it as Qatar, because they were the initial member state, from what I remember. Red Oman gets another small split when UAE troops will start moving into the other member state. At this point, Red Oman is collapsing, they're crippled. Mongolia will adopt a religion, and in the treaty they are forced to adopt Buddhism. The Iranian government has heavily militarized its land, so no rebellion will happen if there was one. So then, the government will march, and the question is, what do they do now? So, they can do one of two things. They can either A, send troops to colonize this area, but no one really wants to do that. It's a desert, who cares? So they don't. They could send troops into Somalia, but that's pointless, right? What they do instead is they decide to join the Iran 6 out of Iran 7, and they send funds to the they basically send money to the what do you call them? They send money to the governments who run it, and in exchange for Caspia, in exchange for Caucasia agreeing to be less hostile towards the Turks, they agree to give that money to them. So Caspians will use that money to found their own Iranian colony. This will be known as Caspian. I can spell it right. Caspian Iran is founded. It will be like this color. United Arabs will get an expansion. They will link up with their allies. Caspia will have a split, but the Caucasian government will send troops in to not let this happen. North Cypresians will get a small split, but the Southern Cypresians will send troops in to prevent this. Nothing happens. And the Cypresians will attempt to make a move, and a new nation might be founded. So, what happens is the Iranian 7 meets up, and they all decide should we found a new nation? They vote, and they agree not to. So as a result, no nation is founded, but Ethiopians are not actually part of this. Ethiopians will get some money from their friends, that being Central, Northern, the Regular, and the South Ethiopians. They all agree to form the colony right down here. This will be the westernmost colony, southwesternmost, and this will be known as Southwestern Land. It's a bad name. They didn't know what to name it. They will make gains, and they are planning on getting back to that next river. Central Anatolian Republic will attempt to surround them with more enemies, the Anatolians that is, but the Anatolian government will not let that happen. They retake this fort. They'll just keep moving. Their plan is simple. This will be known as so their plan is to just slam into Fort Istanbul. The split happens, but the government basically tells the rebels that they will deal with it. They will deal with this later. The Anatolians will forcefully unite with the Central Anatolian Republic, forming a unified Anatolia. I'll get a small expand. And they have officially they've taken the east of Istanbul. The question is, will they cross the strait in order to the west? That they will. The Turkish capital has been captured. So what will they do? They will build their own castle. They will call this fort Western Istanbul in a desperate attempt to hold the Anatolians off. The Anatolians the Anatolian army will then fund a huge insurgency in Cyprus and Greece. They will form Anatolian. At this point, Istanbul will start to collapse. Normally, the most powerful nation on this map is starting to become a disaster. The Anatolian government will keep funding these guys, and as a result, they will start making landings. They'll just continue and continue and continue. The Turkish government is desperately trying to prevent them, but they are cheered on. In some, like the Crete and Cyprus and Crete, they are cheered on by the people living there, because even though the Cypriot government can't take them, at the very least are finally free from the oppressive Turks. So using this, they will keep on moving, and they will adopt Christianity as their religion, as it is the religion of the Cyprians. Meanwhile, the Neo-Cyprian Empire will have a new leader, who will then build a castle. They will then unite with the Northern Cyprians. At this point, Cyprian Empire is back. And this chaos and new nation is formed. They will get a large expand, taking over what remains of the Duchy of Cypriotia. Cyprian people will cheer them on. They are happy to see this. They will keep moving and keep fighting for Cyprian independence. They will never let the Turks stop them. They will land in Cyprus, take the capital, initially get a split. However, the people of the Cyprian people, prevent this split. Turks keep trying to fund it, but it fails twice in a row. Until, finally, the Asia division is over. They will then build a castle over here, right here. This will be known as Southern. will get a large expand. All the Cyprus will be secured, and then start marching into Sinai. Sinai government will fight back, but they are no match. Cypriotian people have at this point raised an army, larger than the Turkic army, in fact. The Anatolians take advantage of the collapsing state, and they will secure all these Greek islands. They just keep moving up the Aegean Sea. They will secure all this, and they will continue on marching until finally, until at long last, the Anatolian government will force the Istanbul government into a union. The leader Said is beheaded on live television in front of the whole population, and as a result, Istanbul is forcefully united with them. So now they will secure the Fort Istanbul to move and secure their territories. But a split will happen. The Greeks and the Turks in this area will rise, and they will not let this tyranny happen. So as a result, the second comes in as Turkic rebels will rise. They will have the red color that their ancestors flew. And now it's on. The war for domination over the Greek and Turkic peninsulas is starting. And this war will engulf all of Anatolia, at least all of the European parts of this map. Formerly arguably the most unified and peaceful, it was peaceful and unified for nearly a century. That has failed. Turks will continue to just get lands until eventually the southern Anatolians will be forced to peace, and southern Greece will also be formed as an independent nation. Which really shows the resolve of the Turkish people. They single-handedly defeated the nation. It will get a split, but it is all for naught. Southern Greeks living in the area just agree to give the peace. They agree peace. Southern Greece will become Crete. They don't mind being forced to live on the island. They're happy to have their nation. The Greeks will adopt Christianity. Southern Greeks will get a split, but this doesn't matter. A new nation will form in central Greece. At this point, the government in charge of Anatolia will be forced to surrender the entire Greek peninsula. So as a result, the war for Greece is over, at least with the two Greek governments still in existence. In the treaty, they will take all these small islands. At this point, Turkic rebels have northern Greece, as well as their half of Turkey. They will formally redeclare the Turkic Sultanate. And their new sultan will be Sultan Selim the First. And then they will rebuild their city. They will call it Said City. Named after their leader, who was executed brutally in front of the whole nation. At this point, the Anatolians are weak. They're practically collapsing now. The Anatolian people are safe from anyone. They will build more fortresses to ensure their safety, just to be safe, because at this point, Turkish could attack. They don't know when, they know they will come back soon. So the Egyptians will get a small split, but this nation is so small. Second Yemeni Republic will unionize with someone. And the nation that they will unionize with is Saudi Arabia. They will force their government to unionize. They will build a fort here to ensure that Sinai, troops from Cyprus, no Cypriot troops will take this. This will be known as Northern Red Sea. Sinai will move, they will build a castle too. At this point, Sinai is heavily militarized. Let's see if these defenses mean anything. Isn't it at this point collapsing? Sinai is weaker, it's getting weaker and weaker by the day. As you can see, nearly 20 small forts dot the area. Anatolia, as well as the Cypresian areas, are heavily defended. The exit to the Red Sea is heavily fortified on all sides. Small fortresses dot the coast. And now, one small lone fortress protects the southern Nile. One fortress protects the southern Egyptians. There's another one that straddles the Libyan-Egyptian border, and then one in Crete, two or three on Cyprus, several in Anatolia, 3 in Caucasia, and then the fortress that protects the Libyan area. I think I will end the video at turn 360. Who is this, I think? Let's see. The Caspians will expand further. As you can see, the Turkish Sultanate is a very successful nation. They have renounced the Anatolians. They will have a split, and this split will become known as Northern Greece. At this point, the Turks would rather keep their core area, and as a result, this rebellion is allowed to break away. will have another split. The Western Thrace will rise up. The Turks are absurdly unstable. This is understandable given their government was recently reformed. Oh yes, the Turks are also kicked out of the Iran 7, renamed to Iran 6. The Turks will unite, and they will force the Anatolians to unite with them, and they would then forcibly unite Anatolia. A small split happens, but the Turks are going to prevent this. The only reason why the Anatolians unify with the Turks is simply because at this point, Cyprians, they also hope that the new Turkish government is more tolerant than the previous one. This guy is peaceful, unlike the previous leader, Said. So as a result, the Anatolians will reluctantly agree to unify. The Turks are back as a power, although they are now substantially weaker. They've lost nearly all their Greek territories. They've lost Crete. They don't have Cyprus. Neo-Cyprians will start marching on. They will march on the western Sinai fort. They will seize it. They will then continue to march. At this point, the world is so unstable to the point in which, frankly, there's nothing else to do. No nation is able to build no nation is able to nation build, and no new group will rise up at this point. The world's nations are brutally unstable, but some of them are getting more unstable. Some nations are getting more stable by the day. The Sinai government is starting to collapse, as the Neo-Cyprians will continue to dominate them. They will build a castle in the southwest, and Sinai wasn't militarized before. It is at this point about as militarized as the DMZ between the Koreas. The Sinai government will be forced to give up. The Cyprians will start flooding in to Egypt. They will be successful, and their armies will not stop. They will take the Nile Mouth fort. It seems like nothing can stop the Neo-Cyprian beast that has formed. Certain regions, Cyprians are popular, and others, not at all. We're going to end the video in 4 more turns, so let's see what happens. The Qatari Oman will adopt Buddhism. They will initially have a small split, but this split does not happen since the Qatari military stops it. Neo-Cyprians will have a large expand. Now they debate whether or not to go to war with Yemen or not. They could seize this area, which they will. They will take Tripoli, keep on moving. They will then finally, so the final move of this video, build a castle here. This will be known as the Yamani Cypresian protective. So, this is our fort map at the end of the video. As you can see, nearly all the Sinai is heavily fortified. And Arabian forts still stand. Some new forts have been built over here. As we go to the faith mode, Christianity has regained its spot as the world's largest religion. But Taoism is existing in Caspia, Asia, and the Iran colony. Buddhism dominates the Mesopotamian and southern and the Arabian region of the world, but Christianity has heavily regained its strength in Egypt, the core Cypresian lands, and not to mention Turkey and Greece, at least the northern area. And then we move to the origin mode. The Turks have renounced their independence and their great independence war from the Anatolians. Instead, they consider themselves to be their own identity. Well, we consider themselves to be their own identity. The Greek nations all agree they came from Rome. The Cypresian Empire is, at this point, a lot making consider the Cypresian Empire to be their origin, such as the Central Mesopotamians. Kuwait considers their origin to be Kuwait. And then, much of what remains here tells to be from the Second Yemeni Republic, or some various Ethiopian groups, and this is our political map, where we have the global power of Cypresa is back, the Iranian 6, the Turks